Good morning, buenos días. Let's try that again. Buenos días. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to our incredible host, New Destiny Housing, and its remarkable team, including the Executive Director, Nicole Branca, and Director of Policy and Communications, Gabriela Sandoval-Requena. It's an honor to be here with all of you today, and thank you to Bronx Borough President Gibson for her insightful and really enthusiastic remarks. We're here today to support New Destiny Housing, a phenomenal organization committed to ending the cycle of domestic violence and homelessness for low-income families and individuals. Their mission is to connect individuals to safe, permanent, affordable housing and services. It's the only organization in New York City dedicated solely to the solution of permanent housing for survivors. It's essential to New York City. In the 4 hours we will spend together this morning, the NYPD will have filed approximately 120 domestic violence reports. This statistic serves as a stark reminder that every 2 minutes, a domestic violence report is filed in New York City. It's crucial to note that the majority of those reporting are women who had access, understood how to communicate, and could seek help. But what about those who cannot seek help, lack access, or do not understand the system? What about those who suffer in silence without knowledge of the resources available, such as those provided by New Destiny Housing? Today, we convene to address this critical issue across an array of compelling panel topics. So let's remember that domestic violence is not just a problem to be solved, it's a battle to be fought collectively, and we can do this together. The fight against domestic violence requires not only awareness, but also action, unity, and unwavering commitment, and resources. So let's be real about that. We need resources. Housing, the cornerstone of New Destiny's housing work, plays a pivotal role in this battle. Domestic violence is the longest standing pandemic in our global history, often lurking unnoticed. As per the UN, globally, an estimated 736 million women, that's almost 1 in 3, have endured physically and or sexual intimate partner violence, non-partner sexual violence, or both at least one time in their lives. To put this in perspective, that's much more than twice the total population of this nation, the United States. Shockingly, 1 in 4 adolescent girls experience physical and or sexual violence from an intimate partner or husband. A significant challenge in this fight is the underreporting of violence against women. Less than 40% of women who experience violence seek help, and most turn to family and friends for support. Alarmingly, fewer than 10% report their experiences to the police. This reluctance to report to formal institutions underscores the need for change in addressing this problem. However, our focus isn't just global statistics. It's also on domestic violence right here in New York City. Sadly, 39% of families in the general population, family shelters in our city, are homeless due to domestic violence. It's the primary reason families seek refuge in the Department of Homeless and Services shelters. Survivors of domestic violence in New York City face an uphill battle and are 8 times more likely to move from one emergency domestic violence shelter to another rather than find permanent housing. A staggering 96% of survivors in New York City shelters are women, and 89% are Black or Latinx. The need to support housing for domestic violence survivors in New York is urgent, not only during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but every single day. The consequences of domestic violence are extensive, leading to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, post-traumatic stress disorder, and depression. Remarkably, survivors of domestic violence are more likely to experience head trauma than football players, yet they are less likely to receive a proper diagnosis and treatment. A significant portion of survivors also experience financial abuse, with up to 99% enduring this form of control. It can lead to coerced debt, putting survivors at risk of losing their homes. These statistics demand our immediate attention, and this is where New Destiny Housing steps in as a beacon of hope. Housing is a fundamental social determinant of health, and providing survivors with safe and permanent housing solutions is a critical milestone in the healing journey. But it's just the beginning. The dual trauma of homelessness and violence has long-lasting intergenerational effects, making survivors and their children more vulnerable to future housing insecurity and abuse. I know this firsthand because I see it every single day in my work with the over 275,000 students at CUNY. Access to trauma-informed resources and services is crucial for survivors to remain stably housed and thrive mentally, emotionally, financially, and New Destiny Housing provides this help. For the majority of my adult life, I've dedicated myself to advocating for the eradication of domestic violence and gender-based violence. This work is not just my profession, it's my passion. As a human rights professor for over 23 years, I've educated and inspired the next generation of social justice warriors. Many of them today stand here as advocates for this cause, or are survivors. Working collectively on pathways to permanent solutions for survivors is a reminder that our mission is far from over. Throughout my journey, I've advocated in global and domestic forums, including the United Nations, whether it's Geneva, The Hague, or right here in New York City. I've collaborated with people from all walks of life, survivors, the Special Rapporteur of Violence Against Women, and presidents of nations, embracing diverse perspectives and experiences, all united by a common goal, to bring attention to the global crisis of domestic violence that affects the world's majority population, women and girls. Housing and housing solutions have always been central to each of these experiences. For those who view domestic violence as a private matter or as merely a human rights or women's rights issue with limited significance, and I have encountered my share, I say let's consider this. It's crucial to recognize the economic implications of domestic violence. It costs our global economy billions, and I say that again, billions, when women are displaced from the workforce in their homes. This cost goes beyond economics. It erodes our society, our social capital, and consciousness. It promotes inequity and instability and leaves more than half of our population disempowered and without support. As we engage today, let us remember that we have the power to change lives, uplift the voices of survivors, and create a world free of domestic violence. Let us challenge societal norms and ensure that the safety and dignity of all women and girls is had. New Destiny builds and manages supportive housing for domestic violence survivors in shelters. It helps survivors find and retain safe, permanent housing and provides the aftercare support that they need to achieve housing stability. It educates and advocates to increase the permanent housing resources available to help the crisis of homelessness for domestic violence survivors and their families. New York City needs New Destiny Housing, as does the world. Let's find ways each of us can support them today. I invite you to share your ideas and resources, because together we can make a difference. Together we can work to eradicate domestic violence. We can provide hope and healing to those who need it most. Thank you for being here today, and let's work hand in hand to build a better, safer, and more compassionate world for us all. Gracias.